Good evening, gamers. It is currently 4:30 a.m., okay? And I had a little spur of inspiration while scrolling through my Instagram feed because recently I recorded that video where I was talking about why I might not be streaming anymore or why I won't be streaming as much, and all my issues with streaming, and my boy Skippy was like, you should do more videos where you just sit here and like talk about something or rant about something, right? Because it's like, it was good for me to listen to in the car, and I was like, yo, that's real, because I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be watching videos like that while I'm in the car too. So yeah, I kind of have an idea of what I want to talk about, so I'm just gonna roll with it, because realistically, and I'll probably start doing this, just like making notes anytime I think of like something fun for a video like this. But the only thing I could think of tonight was there is a certain group of people that will take dumps, I'll say that so that I don't get demonetized, on people's creative works because it doesn't fall into technically correct art, right? And what I mean by that is like photography, right? I do photography. People will break down, or at least I've had this in the past, not recently, but people will break down or have broken down my photos before because of overexposure, not being cropped technically correct, adding colors that weren't originally there, where really that is where you let your creative expression flow. And I don't know why these old heads are so set on this stuff. I don't know, like, and maybe it's pure ignorance for me because I didn't go to school for it. I never really learned the technicality side of technicality. Is that the right word? Is that the right phrase? The technical side, you know, just put it simply, of a lot of this stuff. I mean, I know like rule of thirds and that kind of stuff, but I think maybe it's people that feel inadequate maybe in the fact that their art maybe isn't as good as others, but they can find little things to pick apart others for. Now, this kind of leads me into a story that I told on my Twitch stream, but now I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if that many people know about it. And I was telling it to one of my homies the other day. This night was one of the weirdest nights of my life. It was when I was still living in Pittsburgh, but I knew that I had bought a house and I was moving to the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, 2.5 hours away. So I was staying at my parents' place at the time, which was pretty close to the house that I had bought. And I drove up to this venue to hang out with my best friend and go to the show with some of our homies were playing for their band that was on tour, and it was a free show, and it was an amazing show. But there's 3 bands. First band comes on, they absolutely rip. They're a band called Arc of Violence. They're from Pittsburgh. I highly recommend. They're like kind of, what would you say, like metallic hardcore, I guess you would kind of call them. Awesome. First sign I should have known that this night, maybe I should be extra careful. Okay, maybe I should be extra careful is literally there is a pillar in this basement where this show is happening, and I'm bouncing behind the pillar to avoid moshers because this is a hardcore show, so people are moshing, and you know, in front to take some photos and then behind to take photos, right? Well, at one point I'm in front and I'm taking photos, and I look, and before I can even react, spin kick comes down, hits me in the leg, all momentum, oosh, on my iPhone too. So I'm like, oh my god, is my screen cracked? And the dude's like, and I'm like, it's fine, don't even worry about it, dude, because you know that's what happens at these shows. It is in a room probably the size of my room, maybe a little bit deeper and a little bit wider. So that happens. So, you know, my night, I'm already like, okay, well, that kind of stinks. My leg kind of hurts. Okay, band plays, it's fine. Now, our friend's band goes up. Now, here's the thing. I'm taking photos. I'm like, oh yeah, this is my homie. I'm gonna take photos. What I didn't realize fully, I knew that it was happening, but I didn't realize exactly what was happening, was that the pillar that I was using to guard myself, the guitarist, instead of keeping like an extension cable of some kind or whatever, he didn't want to do any of that, okay? And his pedal board was not, it didn't have a long cord, so he plugs it into the wall, and it's basically, it's hanging there kind of like this cable is right now, where it's just like hanging high. I'm trying to stretch it out. Anyways, it's hanging like that, right? So I'm doing the same thing. I'm being very aware, right? Because obviously I don't want to plug this dude's pedal board. Well, breakdown happens in the song, okay, because it's a heavier band. And there's moshers, so I try and get behind there. And then instantly I see, like as I go to take another photo, I see the guitars go. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I get out of the way, and I'm like looking, and the dude like plugs it back in, and it's fine. He resumes playing, right? That was towards the other set. I walk up to the dude. I swear to God, this is coming back around to other photographers. I swear to God, we're going to get there at some point. I just felt like this was a fun story. I walk up to the dude, and I'm like, bro, I'm so sorry. And he just like looks at me and he goes, and walks out. I'm like, oh my God. Because let's be real here. Was that a total fuck up from your boy? Absolutely. Would I have personally responded the same? No, bro, it was one fucking break. Chillax, dude, okay? I personally would not have done the same. Like, in my head, that's what I've been like. I would have been like, yeah, I'm upset, but like, I gotta chill out. Like, it's not that deep, bro. He's taking photos, whatever. So I go and I buy a hoodie. I'm like talking to our homie that's in the band, and he's like, yeah, he told me. And I was like, dude, I feel so horrible. Then the last band plays. They're amazing. Band called From Joy. Highly recommend them. Okay. They're one of the best bands in the entire fucking world. They're like, I don't even know what genre to throw them into. Maybe chaotic metalcore, maybe. Just amazing. I'm taking photos of that band. It's a great time. I'm like, holy shit, this band is fucking amazing. And I'm using a flash on my camera because it's a basement. And there's no light. There's absolutely, they turn all the lights out. So I'm using a flash, right? Nothing wrong with it. There is tons of photographers that use flash here. Well, there was this other photographer that I noticed had a very similar model camera to me there, but didn't have a flash and was taking a couple photos here and there. So I'm out. Basically, it's a room here, right? And then out here is like the other stage, the like big stage or the medium-sized stage now. Now there's a way bigger event or like third venue in this venue. Basically, it's like one up here, one down here, and then that one's directly connected. And that used to be like the merch room. Actually, I think they still might use it for the merch room whenever there's a show going on. Anyways, not important. The like medium-sized room that probably holds like 250, 300 people, right? I go out there, that's where all the merch is at for this show, because it was in a tiny room. I'm just hanging out, talking to everybody, and I feel an arm come up around me and like grab me. And I'm like, yep, and here it is. The guitarist isn't even gonna try and take us outside. He's just gonna beat the fuck out of me right here. And honestly, I deserve it. Fuck my chungus life. And it's this little photographer, right? This dude, he's probably 50 or 60, somewhere in there. And he's probably 5'4", 5'3", somewhere in there. Because the lady that he was with that looked like his wife was taller than him. So, and she was probably like 5'5". So I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, huh, you really like your flash, don't ya? And I go, yeah. And he's like, well, maybe if you were a better photographer, you wouldn't have to use it so much. And I was like, huh. And I look at this dude's wife, and she just gave me the most, yeah, he beats me look I've ever seen in my entire life, bro. In my entire life, okay? And then they just walk away. So then I tell my best friend, and my best friend's like, where is he? I'm gonna go beat the shit out of him. I'm like, bro, no, bro, chill. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. This is literally the worst night of my entire fucking life ever. Like, this is the worst night I have ever experienced ever, bro. It wasn't actually, it was pretty rough though. But luckily, after the show, go outside, I'm talking to everybody. The guitarist comes up, he's like, hey dude, it's not that deep. I'm sorry. Like, this just already happened once in Cincinnati on this tour with another photographer. And I was like, what? What are the odds? And then I understood a little bit more of his anger, okay? This happens, and I don't think this was a long run. This was like maybe 2 weeks. I think it was more like 10 days. So if you have a 20% chance of your guitar pedal getting unplugged, no, I'm kind of with you, bro. But yeah, I literally was like, yeah, dude. Or he's like, yeah, I saw you with that bought the hoodie. I was like, okay, I can't be that upset. Still love the hoodie, still love the band, you know? And I was like, I hope I can, you know, pay you back with some good photos. And he was like, I'd love that, bro. And then I sent in some photos that I was really proud of, and he posted them. So I think we're all good there, okay? At some point, I'm gonna do another free gig for them and be like, hey, dude, just want to know I just want you to know I'm getting you back for like 2 or 3 years ago and fucking get you correct, dude, because I still feel bad about that. Still keeps me up at night. But yeah, dude, it dumbfounds me, or it makes me feel dumb. What would be the right way to say this? I'm just dumbfounded by the fact that like 3 kind of bad things happened all in one night. I feel like sometimes like the universe is just like, fuck you, dude. You know, I'm sure a lot of y'all feel the same way, is that sometimes you kind of just get in a painful losing streak, whether it be for a day, a week, a month, or even a year, you know? Sometimes it happens, dude, and that's okay. I think that's I'm sure you all have heard this a million times, but that is what makes the good times even better. But yeah, dude, I felt like for like a month there, I felt like I was on a losing streak, and honestly I kind of was. But I think a lot of the times you can acknowledge that maybe your luck has been down a little bit here, but you're overall winning. Like, you're lucky in life. Like, I am incredibly lucky in life. I feel incredibly gifted to just have people that I care about and love, and be able to like try and do things that I'm passionate about. And I don't know, something I realized recently is like, even if all of my like passion for streaming and doing, you know, freelance work and stuff like that. Even if that all went away, I would still be infinitely grateful for the people that I have in my life. Yeah, dude. But thanks for being here, by the way. Watching this video. This is not going to do nearly as well as my I might quit streaming video, but if any of y'all are watching this, dude, I really appreciate it. I'm trying to think if there's any other thoughts I have for this whole, like, you're not, like, perfectionist, almost, like, technical side of things. I think it's just stupid. Like, if you're doing any creative work at all, don't let people put rules on your creativity. I think that's a really, really important thing that I would say to anybody starting out, is do not let anybody put rules on that shit. Move it. Like, for me, in Lightroom, if I didn't fuck up every slider and mess around with it, I never would have found out how to make photos the way that or like edit photos the way that I do now. And if I never fucked up cropping photos, I would never have found out that, like, oh, it's cool. Sometimes to break the rule of thirds is cool. Sometimes it makes the photo better. Sometimes if the photo is uneven, it actually looks way cooler that way, depending on what you're doing. Light drags, dude. Most photographers will be like, this is completely wrong. This is not technically correct. There's some of the coolest shit ever, bro. Coolest shit ever, bro. Some of the coolest things. I don't do it as extreme as some of my friends do, but to, like, put the shutter on 1/30? Would that be the right way? See, I don't know shit. And fucking whip that, John? Oh my god, dude. Cranking the ISO higher than it should be and then adding some extra grain in post to make it look like I intentionally did it. Oh my god, bro. We dead ass right now. That's some of the greatest shit ever. Blowing out the highlights in a black and white photo to make it look even cooler. Oh my god. Dude, fucking adding a color in the shadows with a ton of grain and then adding over top in the highlights and midtones a color to make it look like film photos. Brother, we're living good, okay? And anybody that, like, has a technical whatever or is super technical with that shit is gonna be like, oh, this is very wrong. You do not do that to a photo. But you should do it if that's what you like doing, which is something I've been trying to do recently a lot more with my creative work in general, is just not second guessing myself so much, because that is one of my biggest problems when it comes to creative work. Is I always second guess myself on things like effects or, you know, how I edit photos. But recently I've been like, I'm just gonna go with what I think is best, because recently I've been having a lot of success with doing what I think looks good, like just what I enjoy making and what I think is the best, you know, edit of things. Which leads me to kind of a point that I was thinking about talking about before I thought of this topic. And now I'm thinking about, like, or I was recently thinking about, like, how I got into freelance and where I'm at now in my career. It is so difficult to start in your career and have people tell you what they want you to, like, create or the vision that they have. Like, I'm thinking about being a second videographer for someone right now. I said in my portfolio, they know what my stuff looks like. Like, they know what they're getting. They aren't gonna be like, oh, no, like, completely do a different style, right? When I was starting this shit out, people were, like, telling me, like, oh, no, don't do that. Do this, which is, like, totally different. Was, like, totally different shit than what I, like, was trying to do or even what I was good at doing, right? Like, I was honing my own skills in, like, my own way that I wanted to go with my creativity, right? When you're starting out and you're doing shit for free or you're just trying to get your foot in the door, there are people that are going to try and completely morph what you, like, pretty much what you are, which is something that I'm very glad that I don't have to deal with right now, which is also a precautionary that I would tell to anybody also trying to get into any sort of creative work, is, like, take input from people, but don't let them completely change the way that you do things. Or if you had a bad shoot where you're like, yeah, that shit sucked, I hated all of that, then don't follow in their footsteps, dude. Don't do that shit. Cause, like, you know, if you get in on a niche and get a lot of, like, concurrent regular clients, then you're gonna be stuck doing that shit. Me, almost got into the wedding game. Thank God I did not. I mean, to be honest, I am so trying to get into wedding photography and videography of some kind as a second shooter. I would never want to be in charge of that shit, ever. As, like, the head photographer or videographer. But I didn't know that until I did it, and then I had people literally telling me, like, oh no, this wedding film that we painfully underpaid you for is not good enough. It's like, well, brother, you paid me $300, bro. You paid me $300. I wish that I could tell you guys, like, I just remember this one wedding that I did being absolutely, actually, there's two weddings where I got paid $300 that were absolutely hell. One, I think it was 300. Maybe it was even less pay than that. Anyways, one was a 12-hour day. I was the second shooter. I was shooting on this dude's shitty cameras. He used tripods. He was the most awkward dude that I have ever fucking worked with. Ever. Okay? who's the most awkward dude I've ever fucking worked with. That was hell. And it was a Catholic wedding, and it was the whole day. It was literally from like 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m., right? And I was like, holy fuck, I'm never doing that again. And then literally a couple months later, I had already booked another wedding, me shooting myself, $300 the whole day. Again, pretty much the exact, like almost the exact same thing. It was actually a little less. It was probably like 7 a.m. to like maybe 7 p.m., 6 p.m., somewhere in there. Because I remember I was able to make a show to see one of my favorite bands, Telltale, before they were like big like they are now. Almost missed their fucking set because of this wedding. It was $300. Really annoying. Nobody was particularly nice to me, which, you know, I understand, right? I'm just a fucking video guy. You don't have to be nice, but like, I'm gonna be honest, dude. Whenever I get married, if I have a videographer, I'm gonna be nice to them and like having a good time with them and joking with them or like just trying to be cordial. Actually, I'll probably will be joking around with them because it'll probably be like a homie of some kind. And then I did this video, and then I forget exactly what happened. This was 2018, and I think I just tried to block it out because it was so bad. But basically, like, the mother of the bride, which was the one that like hired me for it, if I remember correctly, made a whole big deal about me not replying to her text or something. I think I was texting her. I was like, yo, dude, like, I'm sorry, I've been busy or something like that. I forget what it was. Maybe there was an edit, but yeah, dude, I just remember this lady like freaking the fuck out on me. And I was like, almost like, dude, you paid me literal pennies on the dollar compared to another videographer. And this was at least like good. Like it was at minimum good. Like I literally remember I was recording their like vows to each other before they even did it. I made an entire montage of their wedding, right? Of every good part of it. I was there for fucking almost 12 hours or 12 hours. Literally got up in the morning, was with these people. They were annoying and they were not particularly nice the entire fucking day, dude. Ugh. But yeah, yo, sorry I got into this rant about this, but here's a good piece of advice that I heard. Don't take advice from a person that you wouldn't trade places with, right? So if this person is some antisocial loser wedding videographer using old cameras, that is a dickhead that never ever reaches out to you ever again to even be like, hey man, how's it been? Or like, hey, how's your business going? Or like, how's this thing that we were discussing, right? Anyways, if they're like that, right? Don't follow in their footsteps. Don't follow in their footsteps. Like, to be honest with you, when I found out that this guy was making thousands and thousands of dollars and then paid me $300, couldn't have literally given me like slightly more, like $500 and literally like made my entire like couple of months there. No, $300. And just, you know, I have to make sure that I give him like literally 10%. Yeah, I think about 10%. Yeah, I'm gonna have this fucking teenager here. I wonder how many laugh reacts he would get on the Facebook post now for saying some shit like that. Anyways, not important. Like, yeah, did $2,500 to like $3,500 wedding sound good to me? Oh yeah. But after doing a couple, I was like, there's no way I'm ever fucking doing this shit as the main guy ever again, dude. But yeah, dude, basically, don't let people control your art. Make whatever the fuck you want. And be confident in yourself. Or even if you're cautious, be cautiously confident in yourself. Be aware, you know, if you're making shit that you're like, yeah, this is ass. I'll be like, okay, it's fine, it's ass. You're making some shit like here and there. That's fine. You gotta have those growing pains. Yeah, dude, I really feel like, honestly, and here's my other piece of advice, right? Find some clients. This is way easier said than done. If you're doing like, you know, paid creative work, find some clients that fuck with you heavy, bro, and appreciate you. That has completely changed the game for me. Finding people that like fuck with me and everything that I create for them, and then I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, let me like expand and try new things. And then I like have built up confidence in myself because of that, and then I feel good overall about what I'm making because they gas me up and shit. Shout out. Yeah, dude. Find you somebody like that will give you the confidence pretty much to do that shit and make you feel comfortable experimenting and creating cooler shit, or sometimes making shittier shit that they'll at least still enjoy and be like, hey, dude, yeah, this is good, you know? Maybe they won't be like, this is insane. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, it's good, you know? Yeah, I like this. Yeah, thanks, dude. Appreciate you. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to talk about this specific subject at all, but I'm really tired. It's now 5 a.m. I think that's all. I think that's all of the advice that I have right now. Also, don't be afraid to charge your worth. Don't let people try and pay you an exposure unless it's an absolutely incredible experience. After you've done a couple of things for free and you feel like you've built up a good portfolio, try and find people that will help mentor you or reach out to people. This, like, I'm saying this from my own experience, but I think this goes for any kind of creative work, right? Yeah, dude. Enjoy that shit, man. Don't make it a chore. Don't make it feel like a job. Do it because you're able to. And if your art form constantly makes you feel burnt out, well, maybe you need to do either a completely different art form, or maybe you need to have a second art form that you can do. Like for me personally, photography, videography, bounce between the two. If one starts to make me feel burnt out, I do the other one for a while. And maybe you need to find the things inside of that art form that you really love. Like for me, videography, I mean, it's like finding new ways to make a video look better, or like finding new ways to make a video stand out. Maybe the chopping parts of it is not exactly particularly the most enjoyable part, but man, do I love finding new ways to like make a video like stick out. Photography for me, I just love making new presets to give me new looks. Like there's presets that I built like years ago that I still use now, and there's presets that I literally built the other day that I've been using in every single like set that I edit. Also, don't be afraid to go through growing pains with that shit, dude. Anyways, I'm just on a total tangent now. Have an amazing rest of your days, nights. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed, drop a like and a sub, it'd be greatly appreciated. Every now and then I go live on Twitch. Feel free to stop by. It'll probably be the first link in the description. I also have a Patreon. If you want to support in that way, that'd be so sick. That'll probably be the second link. And or YouTube memberships, because whenever we get a YouTube member, I'll start uploading the same content on YouTube memberships as I do on Patreon. And yeah, dude. Oh yeah, there's also a backlog on Patreon if you want to check that out. Thanks for being here. Appreciate y'all. Have an amazing days and nights. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.